Hello, it's Brother Gerald, YouTube philosopher, and today the topic of discussion is men and their dreams. It seems like today's generation we have a whole bunch of young men, and these men age, the range of their ages, for me, I see it's usually between 13 and 40 years old, that seem to have this dream of getting into entertainment and being a famous rap music producer. And they have this dream of doing this because they exhibit certain talents and skills, but are they really talents and skills, or is this more of a delusion? That's the only thing I can really compare it to. You know, you have a gift and a talent, and it is of exceptional value, then people will be eager to pay for you to display, to put this talent and skill on display. But I don't see how you get to a point of expectation of receiving money when you haven't really done anything to really prepare yourself, to really show that this is a talent and a skill. And the best example that I can give in this is professional sports. And in professional sports, black people seem to dominate the sprints. They seem to dominate sports that require agility and speed, as well as strength. Like football, for me, is one professional sport that clearly sets the power and strength of large men, along with the skill and speed and artistry that can be exemplified in catching a pass that's just within the fingertip reach of the receiver, and he has to leap a phenomenal height to gain access to catching this ball. And it looks to be so much like a ballet dancer leaping across the stage, but it also employs the coordination and strength of an athlete to catch and secure that ball and to land on his back or land on his head. I saw this one phenomenal catch where the gentleman caught the ball in midair, and as he caught the ball, the defender, as the guy was coming down, his trajectory was coming down, and the defender kind of flipped his feet to where now, and the guy was so high up in the air that he caused the receiver to rotate. And so the guy is like flying through the air like Superman, kind of in a takeoff position. So he's up in the air like Superman. He's caught the ball, and now he's still rising, and the defender's hitting him at his feet. And so now all of a sudden he's now rotating. And the unique thing about it is that he rotated the man to where it looked like he was doing a front flip. But the odd thing about this catch was that instead of landing and crashing, that he was up so high, and the defender had caused him to rotate at such a speed that by the time he reached the ground, his feet was underneath him, and he literally landed on his feet. It was a Cincinnati Bengal receiver. I think you could probably Google it. Cincinnati Bengal receiver, ultimate catch. And you'll see just how phenomenal the catch was. But the thing is, these men didn't get into the position of being able to perform at this extreme level of physical expertise without having made the sacrifice of going to the gym. You have talent, but these men had to play Pop Warner football as young men. They played football in junior high school, and then they went to high school. Then they went to college, spent 4 years in college. Then they continued this routine of training and sacrifice, sleeping and exercise, training, practice, learning the drills, learning the plays, and coordinating them together on a team, and ultimately getting out there to compete with other teams that have made the same sacrifices to hopefully win a prize. And the Bible even gives an example of this where Paul gives a speech where he compares gaining eternal life with the sacrifice likened unto an athlete, where he's disciplining his body to do certain things. Like as a Christian, we're supposed to discipline our bodies to not be fornicators like the majority of the world is promoting and doing. Most people would find it very odd for a man at 30 years old to be a virgin, and to be a virgin by choice of will, not by accident of him being shy and not being able to get a girl, but he does it because he does it by choice of will, because he wants to honor God and he wants to prepare himself for the ultimate relationship. So he's sacrificing and preparing himself for this ultimate relationship that's going to entail him being with one woman and being committed to building something with her till death him or her departs. So the whole thing about these sacrifices and these men that want to be these great rappers, I'd say rap is a form of poetry. And if you were to sit down with most of these men, you could ask them, have you read any poetry books? No. They'll say no. Have you taken any classes to learn about poetry and the different styles of poetry there are? No. Can you tell me different poetry styles? No. Now, I'm not a rapper, but I've heard of haiku, I've heard of sonnets, I've heard of many different types of poetry writing. But if you were to talk to these young men about the different styles, they couldn't tell you. What's a haiku, sir? Oh, I don't know. But you call yourself having this gift, having this talent, but you have done very little to exercise and expand it to a level that would be worthy of somebody coming to you and paying to see you perform your supposed craft. So I would say that your vision or your dream of being this famous rapper really is a delusion, because you're not really taking this supposed gift that God has given you, or that you declare you have, to really maximize it like an athlete that has physical talents of natural speed and agility. But this natural speed and agility will pale in comparison to somebody who has the same natural speed and ability that goes to the gym, that sacrifices going to the party in high school to get a good night's rest, to be prepared to be fully energized to compete at the level of extreme that would give him an opportunity to be a champion. So this is what I'm trying to get people, especially young men here in the black community, to start being a little more reasonable about their dreams. Because I see so many men spending so many years dreaming, and they're not dreaming, they're being deluded. And the delusion is crippling them from really enjoying life and realizing that things could be much better. Because the demand for rappers is really, there's really not a great demand for rappers now, but there's a great demand for skilled laborers like plumbers, electricians, heating and air contractors, carpenters, roofers, swimming pool, makers. These are all in demand, and we don't have enough of these guys to go around. I see my phone is like blowing up every day. People are constantly asking me to do things for them, and it would be so wonderful if these young men that are working these oddball minimum wage jobs would just take the time to go to a trade school, or take the time to learn how to do these things and go out into business and make some money. Because if you make some money doing that, that might enable you to get the tools that would be necessary for you to really realize your dream. And the tools that you could buy, making, $30, $40 an hour as a plumber, $80 an hour as an electrician, you could create a music studio at your house. You could buy a house. You could have a car. Because many of these young men that I see with these dreams, they don't have cars. They don't have homes. The only thing they have is a dream. They might have a home computer that they've rigged to make beats and things like this, but really no opportunities to make a whole lot of money doing what they do. And then they complain that the world is just not fair. Well, I have to break the news to you. The world is not fair, and crying about it is not going to change to make it fair. So in order for you to get what you need out of life, you got to make some sacrifices. So I would suggest that if you guys really think you do have a talent, then what you need to do is make the sacrifice to go to school, to hone your craft, to learn about the different avenues, because, writing poetry, many men have become very famous poetry writers. I've written a few poems. I think I might even start verbalizing them on YouTube to get people to see how talented a person I am. Not that I think I'm more talented in doing construction than anything, because that was something that allowed me to exercise my mental powers as well as my physical, abilities to create and to repair. So just hope young men would stop being so deluded and start getting back to reality and getting on with the business of life, because you can dream a dream, but at what point does the dream become a nightmare? It becomes a nightmare when you've given up so much of your life. You've done nothing with your life. And then you reach an age where you see your life is half over, but you haven't really done anything with the first half. So the second half looks to be very dismal, and it becomes more desperate. And I don't really wish that to be for any young man's future. And for the men that happen to watch this video, I pray that it gets you to think clearly, and to get a blessing. And to get a blessing means that you got to change your mind and start thinking a little more sensible about things. So with that, I depart. Peace to you all.